One interesting thing about me is that I love thinking about urban planning. A city or town that is well planned can make life a lot easier, or it can make life a lot harder and more complicated. Now that I've spent a few years in Lithuania, I've become familiar with a staple structure known as the Prekybos Centras, which simply translates to shopping center. Obviously, in this day and age, shopping centers have their similarities all over the world. But for this video, I want to dissect Lithuanian shopping centers and what makes them awesome, especially when compared to daily shopping activities in North America. Now, I don't know what things are like where you're from, but I feel like in much of North America, suburban sprawl has really shaped much of Canadian and American life. One big and noticeable result is that neighborhoods are far away from shops and services, resulting in automobile dependence. Not only is any kind of supermarket rather far from most communities, but it feels far as well. Roads wind around in confusing patterns, all houses look the same, and sometimes sidewalks are just non-existent. Of course, to compensate for the supermarket being far away, it tends to be really big. Sometimes called power centers, these tend to have all sorts of shops surrounding a really big parking lot. And because you might not want to drive to these big centers too often, you might spend your Saturday morning doing one gigantic grocery shop and getting all your errands done all at once. My experience of Lithuania so far is that the average basic shopping experience is quite different. And this is because of the neighborhood Prekybos Centras, or Prekybos Centrai if plural. From neighborhoods surrounding a large city center to small Lithuanian towns, there always seems to be a small Prekybos Centras conveniently located to serve the needs of the local area. At least in my own experience, most people are never more than a 10-minute walk away from one of these shopping centers. The level of walkability is great since it reduces dependence on a car and makes it more feasible to get the basics of life every few days instead of once a week. So what does a local Prekybos Centras look like and consist of? Well, in my experience, pretty much every one of these local shopping centers is built around a supermarket. These are typically one of the larger chains, such as Iki, Rimi, Maxima, or Norfa. Lidl, however, tends to stand on its own. Accompanying the supermarket is one or some of the following elements: a separate bakery, a key duplication service, a flower shop, and a pharmacy. Outside, there tends to be one or a few self-service parcel points, and in the case of illness, there might also be clothing drop-off bins. I also find that most Prekybos Centrai seem to have a Vinoteca shop within it, but maybe it's just the ones I've been looking at. But they do appear to be quite common. But then, the bigger the shopping center, the more shops and services you'll find. This one here in an outer neighborhood of Vilnius includes a salon, a bookstore, a few restaurants, a cafe, and more. All of these smaller centers are meant to complement the larger shopping centers of Lithuania, which typically only exist in the larger cities of the country. These large malls of Lithuania are definitely meant to be a regional destination to host more upscale brands and larger multinational companies. When I talk about Lithuania's mini malls, these mega malls are definitely not included. And from what I gather from asking Lithuanians, these smaller shopping centers started appearing in the early 2000s. My understanding is that supermarkets established themselves as the core of these buildings, but it made sense for the building manager to include other businesses within the same building in order to attract more customers and get more business. With self-serve parcel terminals coming to Lithuania in the early 2010s, it seemed like a good fit for these things to be placed where most local people would be occasionally visiting. And while their location is all about convenience for residents, casinos seem to have picked up on this and have set up in many of these shopping centers as well, making gambling a convenient activity too. I don't know about you, but I could do without these mini casinos, since they tend to prey on those with addictions. But I said it before and I'll say it again. What I love most about these shopping centers is that they never seem to be too far away. Making things even better is that it's not just the supermarket, as other basic shops and services are included within the structure as well. Again, maybe you have something like this where you're from and it's nothing special or interesting, or maybe the city and community you're in is nothing like this at all. I know that my friends who lived in a Calgary suburb had their closest supermarket located about a 30-minute walk away, making it totally impractical to walk there and return back with groceries. Whatever the case may be, I can say that this is one thing I love about Lithuania and most Lithuanian towns and cities. All the way from outer Vilnius neighborhoods to smaller areas like Anykščiai, Plungė, and Alytus, I'm grateful that these little shopping centers are all over the country. So, what do you think of the idea of neighborhood Prekybos Centras? Let me know by leaving a comment. And so, for the Lithuanian word of the day, let's go with the verb apsipirkti, which means to shop. Apsipirkti. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.